Soft sticks.
Hello honeys, welcome to the vlog. For today's video, I thought we would do part 2 of dating a fitness competitor. Mostly because I actually get so many DMs and messages and questions about dating a fitness competitor. And I even have people who find me just off of that one last YouTube video that I did because they're kind of going through the same thing. And
it's hard.
So I figured we could do a part 2 because we went through it a second round. So I know the way we did the first video was we broke it down into kind of like 3 parts. The first one was bulking, then we did cutting, and then the final like miserable 2 weeks. So what do we call that? Like Hell Week or something? I don't remember what we called it last time. But I figured we could do kind of the same thing for this video. So let's just start with bulking for this.
I didn't do that this time. The second go around was way different than the first time because my body was already prepared from the last prep because I didn't even wait a year, I don't think.
No, you didn't.
So my body was already ready. So I skipped that whole bulking phase and went straight into dieting, which was a lot easier for us, I think.
Yeah.
Number one, it was a lot shorter because I think our first prep was like 18 weeks long.
It was very long.
So this one was a lot shorter than the last one. So no bulking this time. I'm currently in a bulking phase right now, which I don't think is bad for Tiana at all because since my body has already been acclimated to a diet, like I'm already at a point where I can allow myself to have snacks, or we allow ourselves to have
whatever
meals once, like a real cheat meal once a week, and then we snack whatever we want. And I don't know, I think for you it probably is kind of good to have me because I stick to a pretty strict, I have the same exact food every single day except for
it's definitely easier for like me to meal prep because I have him already doing it. Yeah, if that makes sense. So like if yeah, I already have pre-made meals every day. But no, I think the bulking phase was a lot easier because it wasn't like the first go around. You weren't sitting there like falling asleep mid-conversation. Yeah. But that's because his body was already at that point. And last show we started from ground zero. You had no foundation, no base. So in that sense, bulking was a lot harder, and he had to like force himself to eat, and he would fall asleep all the time because he was so tired, because he's so full, and he struggled getting his meals in.
I remember that too, but it's funny because now I'm eating the same amount as I was back then, and now I have no problem at all. So it's weird how my body changed.
So I think bulking wise, that phase definitely went a lot easier, for sure. And then the cutting phase,
that was easier too, except for the end. The end is never gonna be easy.
And I don't wanna say it was easier because nothing about this is easy. Whether you are the person doing the show or you are the significant other, I don't want you to think any of this is easy, but we knew, and you always say it perfectly, is we know what to expect. That's what it was, is there was no like unknown. That's the scary part. There was no, like, I know how he's gonna be, and I know that after that, he's gonna be back to normal.
For any fitness competitor that has never done a show, or anybody who has somebody that's doing a show, that person's gonna change for 4 to 6 weeks. And in the beginning, it's not so bad. You're still getting used to it. You don't really understand what's about to happen. And then your body gets to a certain point of leanness where your entire mood changes. You're not eating fat, so your brain's not getting the proper nutrition. So you talk about weird things and like you don't remember things.
Yes, so it's kind of cool to see though. You really see the effect of like what you put in your body affects your brain, like literally.
100%.
And they are going to be a different person, meaning they're going to be crabby. They're going to be hungry all of the time. They're going to forget things you just talked about. It's insane. That's why they call it prep brain, because it's a thing.
I think one of my worst things that I do on prep is I have an idea, I say the idea, I go 5 minutes and I forget that I tell Tiana that idea and I re-say it, and she gets so angry.
all of the conversations that we have like during that time when you start cutting, we have had every conversation like 6 times. So like I'm on autopilot and just say the same things that I've already said before because we've already had the conversation. But to him, he's so excited because it's a whole new conversation. But prep brain is a thing, and he also says things that just make no sense. Meaning like and I don't know how to describe it. I know, but I don't know that that's even the best way to describe it, but he says things that he wouldn't say normally. You say things that aren't you. You say things that if you were off prep, that's not something you would say, that's not something you really truly think or believe in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And
because I'm just aggravated.
Yeah, and to be honest, at first I would get like angry because I'm like, dude, like, what the heck? Like, that's not you. That's not, like, do you realize what you're saying? And I just think that through the cutting process, you have to pick your battles, because he's gonna forget 5 minutes from what he just said, that he even said it, and you just have to understand that it's not that person, and he's not gonna stay that way. I don't know. Prep brain is a thing. It's just you're gonna forget things, you're gonna say things that don't make sense. And one thing that he does, speaking of prep brain, I don't know if this is true for everyone or what the deal is, but all that he freaking talks about is that show. Is prepping for the show, is food, is working out,
I'm a special person. Like I think, I don't want to say
You don't think everyone does it?
I want to say this in a conceited manner, but like I'm a very determined person, and I get tunnel vision for whatever thing that I want, you know? So like, if I want to win that show, like literally all I can think, talk, dream about, whatever, is winning that show. So like it consumes my life.
Yeah, no, that's a good word for it, is it literally consumes his life. And that was one of our things this time, was I was like, dude, like, because I would have to bring things up, whether it's about business or work or the wedding, or just I wanted to talk about something funny that happened. And as soon as he engages in a conversation, he'll say something, and then it turns back into the show, prep, the gym, food, whatever. And I'm like, dude, like, you gotta cut it off. Give me like 5 minutes of interaction of something other than talking about fitness and talking about, I don't even know.
But the important thing to remember is it all ends.
It all ends, yes, but you also have to figure out how you two best can get through it. We have to sit down and have conversations of like, yo, this is bothering me, this is annoying me. And same with you, you have to be like, dude, I feel this right now, I feel that, and you have to sit down and talk about it and figure it out and understand like what more the other person needs.
I get to a point where I literally have to make Tiana go into a separate room to eat her food.
Oh yeah.
I can't sit in the same room while Tiana eats food.
Yeah. And it's, I had to, if you follow me on Instagram, I got so many responses from the one story I posted when I was eating bean dip and Fritos, and I was like, I can only eat this when Dustin isn't here because I can't crunch in front of him. Like I can't, and
it's so bad.
And it's not a mean thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I can sit here and eat in my own household, people, okay? But it's a respect thing for the both of us.
Yeah.
I respect that he's trying to go through a show and do this. I'm not gonna add stress to it. I'm not gonna add annoyance to it. If it bothers him, okay, for 1 month, I don't need to sit here and chew chips in front of him. Like, it's not gonna kill me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I told Tiana it's a very selfish sport. It's a sport where you are self-centered, and everything for that 12 weeks or however
is about you.
Is about you. So, I mean, whoever you're with is gonna have to understand that and kind of realize that this is something that you want, and if you really want it, you need to express to them that this is.
That's a good point. It's a very selfish sport, and you being the significant other for 12 weeks, 18 weeks, however long you do it, have to understand that you are going to have to be the most selfless you have literally ever been in your entire life. So let's talk about the last 2 weeks, Hell Week. That's what we're gonna call it.
We didn't really have that this time though.
Week.
We got to that point.
Okay, good point. Yeah, I guess for those of you that don't know, Justin's show was canceled because of coronavirus. Yeah. So everything was canceled. So we had just gotten to that point. You were what, a week and a half out before the show got canceled?
16 days out.
16 days out. Okay, so 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
So this time we had just made it to that point.
And I was there. I was 100%.
He was 100% there.
Yeah.
But, okay, so I guess like the couple days that we had, I don't know.
It's not as bad the second time because you just already know. It's not like you know that it's gonna be bad. That's, okay, yeah. So it's not that it's not as bad, it's not easier, it's the same, but you know how to handle it better. You've been through the situation before. Yeah. So I already had what I remembered from my last prep that like helped me through that, like the cucumbers and like drinking the flavored water, things like that. So like I already had, the good thing about doing this is that I know what my body likes and what I can do to curb certain craves that I have.
Right.
So like it was just an easier process because I knew what I needed.
He had like tips and tricks for things. Okay, so I guess the last thing that we didn't get to do for last video, but I think is an important point, is handling you going through all of this and not stepping on stage. Because I'm gonna be honest, and I haven't even told him this, but all of this was happening and there was all this uncertainty in the world, and I don't know, through the whole thing I was like, it's not gonna get canceled, it's fine, because it's when all of this first happened, so no one knew how bad it was, and I just try to stay positive. I'm like, it's fine, it's not gonna get canceled, like come on, there's way too many people doing it, you know, whatever, and no one knew the coronavirus was gonna be as bad as it is. I was very pleasantly surprised at the way that you handled it. Because in the back of my mind, I was like, oh shit, like what are we gonna do if this is really canceled? Like I am going to have to like pull this kid off the balcony, like what, it's just so.
I was so ready.
Yes, like
so unbelievably ready.
And it's also because, and again, you're right, it could just be you. I'm sure that there's other people out there too, but he gets in this tunnel vision, this mentality, this there is nothing else but first place mentality that is terrifying and awesome all at the same time. So like when you're so mentally deep into that, to just have to all of a sudden like have the switch flipped on you, that's like one, a lot to come out of. Two, you have to like come back into reality because he's already not really like in reality, so you have to step back into reality. It's just like a lot to come to terms with, and I was so.
I think, but okay, before you go any further, I think that was hard for you to understand as well, because you thought that just because the show ended, my mood and my personality was an instant.
Well, wait, yeah, but before we get to that, okay. Yes, but before we get to that,
okay,
I haven't even asked you this yet, but like, how did you expect it to get canceled? Did you mentally prepare yourself in case it did get canceled?
No.
Like, how did you handle it? So just like, I don't know. Well,
I told myself that I wasn't going to cancel it because I honestly did not think it was going to get canceled. I thought we were going to do that 50-person rule where you go in, you just have the competitors, you do the judging, whatever, which would have sucked either way because that's not a real show. Like, you're not stepping on stage in front of an audience.
Right.
But I don't know. I think that it almost made me happy because I have an opportunity to. I think that I saw myself and I saw that I could have been better, and that I didn't take the months that I had off and like put into making myself better for this show. So I think I saw an opportunity when this show got canceled to really put in what I saw was lacking for. Because throughout the entire process of me prepping, I talked to you about things in my body that I figured out ways to change,
right,
and like things to do. Because on prep, I become consumed with fitness and watching fitness videos and learning and doing research, and I did a lot of that this time. And I would talk to Tiana about things that I wish I would have done off of prep. So I had all of these ideas ready to go, right, to make myself better. And when that was canceled, I think I saw an opportunity to be like, maybe this happened for a reason, and I'm gonna take all these months that I have off to really put in the work that I didn't do for last year and really now I'm going to win the overall. Now I have no excuse not to go on stage and
right, because you have like a year of
literally win the overall.
Yeah.
So I turned a negative situation into I'm going to bust my ass and put in real work for next year.
Yes. So
I just saw opportunity where there was loss of opportunity.
Life lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so back to what he was saying earlier about how after when the show was canceled, again, it's all a learning process. This is something we haven't been through, but you're right, I just expected the switch to flip, everything to kind of go back to normal immediately, and
yeah.
I mean, it didn't, because here's the thing, the difference between the show last year was he did the show,
it's this
won first place, it's this huge event, it's, you know, you're leading up to it, your family, your friends come, we have plans after to go eat, what meals he's gonna have, you know, like literally all of that. So it's this whole event, and then it was canceled, and it was just this anticlimactic event. We were literally sitting on the couch like, all right,
yeah.
So like life's back to normal, I don't know. And I guess that's what I expected, is I expected it to kind of be like it was last year. And then, you know, we ate and we went to Puerto Rico to do a car show, then the Bahamas, and it was this whole, like, we had a trip planned, and we did this time too, that we had to cancel because of coronavirus. So yeah, it just wasn't eventful.
Yeah, I didn't have like this big after show meal. I wasn't like a big event for me to step on stage. Like I wasn't super happy about it. So like it was different because immediately after the show was canceled, I decided to start bulking diet, or like my reverse diet to come off of my prep. So like it wasn't like I had this huge day of just eating whatever I wanted, and like we had like this party. And
there was no celebration.
Yeah.
That's what it is. There's no celebration.
So like it took a while for my body to come back from what it was during prep, because I still fed my body the healthy foods, and it wasn't like I just had tons of fat and sugar and carbs to kind of bring me back like we did when we celebrated my win from last year. So I think it was harder for her to understand that like I'm gonna be back to normal, but it takes a little bit longer because we don't have all these things to kind of excite us and whatever.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
But everybody comes back.
Yes, maybe. I promise you. And I think that's one of the things, it's cool because I message with a lot of people back and forth of, hey, I'm going through the same thing. Like, do you ever feel like, I guess it's a good time to go over like some of those questions because I'd like your input too. But one of the questions that I got was like, do you ever feel like you're not a priority? Yeah. Yes. For 12 weeks. For 12 weeks. Yes. But, and that's hard. Don't get me wrong. There's no but about it. That's hard because a relationship is a two-way street. But you have to understand that, like we were saying, it's a selfish sport. So you also have to understand that just for those 12 weeks, you got to be selfless.
But with that being said though, even though I, of course, had to put my nutrition and my, you know, my fitness and stuff before anything else, I still found ways to do things for you, like surprising you with flowers or. And
that's the other thing too, is for people that are going through this, you have to understand that no one else chose to do this. No one. You chose to do this.
Yeah.
And that being said, you do have friends and family that support you. So I get that. But you can't sit here and I don't know how to explain it. You can't sit here and lose the people around you, because if you do make it to the top, it's gonna be very lonely. So you have to understand that the show will end. Prep will end. Who do you want standing at the top with you when it does? And you have to be conscious of that, even when you don't want to be and your brain's not working. Like, you have to be conscious of that and find ways to be like, hey, I know that these 12 weeks are hard, that I'm being selfish, but I love you and I appreciate you. So that would be my advice to people that are on prep, is like, you just have to understand that you chose this and everyone else just kind of has to be along for the ride. And it's hard, and you just need to make sure that they're loved and appreciated throughout it. So the answer is yes, you do feel like you're not a priority, but it is up to that other person to
still put in the work.
Still, yes.
Do things even though
it's not going to be the same, but there needs to be some sort of respect and understanding and appreciation through that. And then another question I got was, how do you, it was towards me, is how do you like support them through this? Whether it's like, you know, with like treats or words of encouragement or like whatever. And I'd like some of your input on this, on maybe, you know, to people who are the significant other, of what people could do to support.
One thing that I need is visual, what's the word, like reassurance. Like, I need you to tell me that I look good.
Oh yeah.
That's literally all you care about through these 12 weeks, is seeing differences in your body. And what I really need is just like pep talks and that, hey, you look good today, or like, this is different, like.
Yeah, that's a good point. You do. Dustin personally needs, and I'm sure it's with everyone, but you have to sit there, and it's not compliment them, but acknowledge their hard work, because they're sitting here and their body's literally changing from week to week, and it's insane. And it's like, as a significant other or a friend or relative or whatever, you have to sit there and acknowledge that. Let them know that, hey, this blood, sweat, and tears that you're putting in is working. And I'm here for it, and I'm supporting it. So words of encouragement, 100%. I guess in terms of like, I don't really know, like you can't really give them like treats or bake them their favorite food or like anything like that. You're very limited to what you can do. So I don't know, notes, words of encouragement, gifts at their show, talking about the things you're gonna do after it.
Being interested in what they're doing.
Yes, you might not understand why someone's doing it, or anything, but just sit there and talk about it. It's clearly something they're interested in, that they like to do, so yeah. I guess even just simple things like that, like just talk about it. I don't know. You need to let whoever's doing it know they're not doing it alone. Because as much as it is their fault that they're in that situation, it does suck, and they are putting themselves through a really hard time. And even just having a 5-minute conversation about what changed in their diet this week, or what their workout was like. Showing some interest. Hey, how are you feeling? I always would ask them, how are you feeling? Because every day to day it changes. It's like, oh shit, like today's a hard day. It's a team effort. Like, even though, yeah, that person chose to do it and you didn't choose this, like you didn't choose these 12 weeks. When you're a couple, you're a team. Yeah, they did it to themselves, but like you said, you're in it together. You're not alone, and you guys have to look at it as, it's not you versus me, it's us versus this prep. It's us versus this show. And you have to have that mindset. All right, well, that is all that we have for today's video. So I hope that you guys enjoyed, but if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, if you're going through this, you're going through prep, or you know someone who is, or you're the significant other or whatever, just reach out to one of us. We're pretty good about responding. I always, whenever I've gotten a couple so far, DMs about like being the other person in the relationship and trying to support someone through it. No one understands unless they've been through it or they're going through it. So feel free to reach out. I've had so many awesome conversations about it, and just even talking to someone that like truly understands and knows what's going on makes the biggest difference. So that is all that I have for today's video, and I will see you guys next week.
Follow me to jump.
Oh my god.